West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder joins us once again on the Oakland County MegaCast. Clerk Binder, thank you for being with us today.
As always, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
How are things going at the clerk's office? Busy time of year as you're preparing for the election.
It's a busy time of year, Tyler. I like to say, elections are always busy, and then you have an election that has historic turnout, and now you have an election that has historic turnout that is also operating in a COVID-19 environment. So we are definitely hopping and doing everything we can to process ballots and keep our election workers safe. So it has been a challenge, but we're meeting it.
We talked a little bit about this with Oakland University Professor David Dulio, that there's a little bit of a battle going on with when absentee ballots are going to be due in order to count in these elections. And we won't get into the politics of that, Debbie, but there's so many new absentee voters in this upcoming election because of what was voted in through Proposal 3 in November of 2018 that allows no reason absentee voting. We're expecting, and we've talked about this before, an influx of absentee voters. And with the uncertainty of the due date, a lot of these local municipalities, in partnership with Oakland County and individually even, are doing their part to provide different avenues to collect these ballots and make sure that each one of these voting voices is heard in this upcoming election. What is West Bloomfield doing to help support these absentee voters and make sure that they are having their voices heard and are able to vote safely and securely in these upcoming elections?
Tyler, it's important to remember that when that was passed in 2018, it was with overwhelming support of the voters, and it is a protected right now for voters to vote by absentee ballot, undeniably. We have people who've changed their habits to start with to vote absentee, and right now, on top of the increase that we had from just voter habits changing, we have people who are changing their habits because of COVID-19. So there is a huge surge. Give you an idea what we're talking about numbers-wise. In 2018 gubernatorial general, we had 14,000 absentee ballots sent out as of election day. Right now, we're at 19,200 with 2 weeks to go. So we know we're going to see historic numbers going out and coming in. But again, I always like to remind people, beyond the partisan, it was overwhelmingly approved by the voters, and it is people's right now to vote by absentee. So we do everything we can to make that right accessible to the voters. We have, we follow election law. Now, the part you had mentioned about when ballots have to be back, that's following election law as well. Those ballots at this point have to be returned by 8 p.m. on election day. We have to have them here. Right now, we're undergoing a big push in a campaign to try to educate voters to get those ballots back, bringing them to either the drop box that we've always had or one of our new drop boxes, or bringing them to the clerk's office. The mail service has been delayed, and we don't want any voters to miss that opportunity because the mail is delayed. So right now, we've tried to make it as easy as can be. We always had a drop box for many years on the east side of the building. We just added a huge drop box on the west side of the building. One thing I will tell voters if they use it is that they need to give that ballot a good little tap to get it through the slot for ballots. But those are available 24/7, no postage required. They're emptied multiple times a day, and that gives the voter an easy way to get that ballot back to town hall. Right now, we are encouraging all voters who contact us to not rely on the mail service at this point, but to rather get their ballot delivered back to town hall. Or if they haven't received one yet, we suggest that they come get one at town hall as well, just allowing for a delay in the mail service. Again, that ballot has to be at town hall by 8 p.m. on election day in order for it to count, pending any legislative changes. The way it stands right now is 8 p.m. on election day.
West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. You mentioned the large ballot box that you have on the west side of the building. It's on the side with the West Bloomfield Township Public Library right across the way in the parking lot from Town Hall. And there's maybe some concerns with these ballot boxes in West Bloomfield and in other municipalities that there may be some potential for attempted tampering with these mailboxes and some potential issues that amount from that. How protected are these ballots? Obviously, you have the police department on site in the Civic Center complex that's right there, and I don't imagine there'd be a whole lot of criminal activity necessarily through Oakland County in regards to these election ballots, but it's something that's on people's minds and something to think about. How secure is West Bloomfield ensuring that these ballot boxes are and preventing them from any tampering or theft?
Well, again, like you said, we are on Civic Center campus with the police nearby. These are secure ballot boxes that are created and designed and sold for that purpose. Additionally, we have cameras on them, and they're emptied multiple times a day when we're here. And there is patrol around the campus to make sure they're secure. Everything, there's a great angle on the camera, so we do the best we can. I also want to point out that we've had a ballot box on the east side of the building for many years. This is not something that's a new concept. We just recognize that with an increase in absentee voter turnout, that we need to have a larger drop box to collect those ballots. It isn't a change. We've been doing it for years.
West Bloomfield Township
So,
Clerk Debbie Binder with us on the Oakland County Megacast. We talked with Lisa Brown, the Oakland County Clerk and Register of Deeds, yesterday about the Oakland County Democracy Initiative, which is a partnership between, of course, the county offices, the Board of Commissioners, the Executive's office, and clerk's offices in many municipalities in Oakland County. And one of the topics that came up, as always, comes up with in our conversations, is the need for election workers. Is West Bloomfield still in need of more election workers? Who are you looking for? Who would be qualified? And what are some of the roles that need to be covered by these election workers for both August and for the November general?
Okay, so we always need election workers. The average age of the election worker in Michigan was deemed to be 76 years old. So for sustainability, we need to constantly keep, bringing in new people and new faces. We have about 15 to 20 a year that retire, that have done their time. Many of them have been working elections for 20, 30 years, and it's time for them to retire, and it's time for the next generation to come in. So we work hard to work with the schools to get the word out. You have been a tremendous community partner with Civic Center TV and with the radio station to get the word out and let people know we need election inspectors. We're always trying to get younger ones to come in and get involved. For the younger ones, it's a great way for them to get something for their resume and their college application. Phenomenal entry for that. And they do get paid. Now, it's usually not the pay that brings them back, but it is a great opportunity, and people understand the importance of giving back to their community. So we can get them involved either at a precinct, working with people who come to vote on election day, or the absent voter counting board, which, as I mentioned, is going to have historic numbers coming in. We know that we're going to be processing more absentee ballots than we've ever processed, which means we will need more election workers than we've ever needed. So I am constantly encouraging people to consider it is a wonderful way to give back. You get paid a little. It's a long day. And I know I heard Clerk Brown say the same thing. It is a long day, but everyone complains and they all come back because they really do enjoy it. So I encourage people to get involved. They have to be 16 years of age or older, and they do not have to live in West Bloomfield Township. If you're looking to get involved or see this as a great opportunity for you, contact the clerk's office. You can either email dbinder@wbtownship.org or call the clerk's office at 248-451-4848, and we'll get you an application. Also, the application is online and the clerk's page under elections and voting. There's one called the election inspector application. So I encourage people to get involved. We'll get you in the circle where there's training involved. So we don't just throw you into a precinct on election day. You are trained and you feel like you know what you're going to do. And there's always, when you get into a team, there are always people who've been doing it for many years. So the first year can be a little intimidating for some people, but they very quickly learn that they're not alone and there's a group there to make sure they're supported, and they come back again year after year.
Debbie Binder with us. She's the West Bloomfield Township Clerk with us on the Oakland County Megacast. The Megacast today also on the West Bloomfield Township Clerk's Facebook page via Facebook Live. Debbie, people want to go to the polls informed of who they're voting for. Maybe they know about the more extensive races or the more widely advertised races, like that of major positions such as the Oakland County Executive, Oakland County Treasurer, or Township Board Trustees, where they know who's going to be on the ballot. But in some other cases, like maybe prosecutor or Oakland County Commissioners, and down the line, they may not know what some of those issues are, some of those positions are, and those candidates. Where can people find their specific sample ballot so that they know what they're going to be voting on, and they know what they need to be looking into as they prepare themselves to vote in August and in November?
Well, the ways they can get sample ballots, they can either contact the clerk's office, because we do have sample ballots available, but they can also go online to the Michigan Voter Information Center, enter their specific information, and they will get the ballot that they will be voting in the precinct. It's a good way to come prepared if you're going to vote in the precinct or if you're going to vote at home. And I know Professor Dulio talked about getting information and making sure that you have information on your candidates. And as you mentioned, Tyler, it's not always easy to get information on the candidates at the not running at the higher level offices. So a good way to do that, there's two ways. One is the League of Women Voters Guide. And we always get asked for the League of Women Voters Guide. It's a longstanding source of information, nonpartisan, on where candidates answer questions, and it's published. Now, in the primary, it's available online. For the general election, they'll have them available in a print copy that we will have some available right here at the clerk's office, but it's always available online. And as you mentioned, the candidate forums that you guys cover. Additionally, there's a more of a grassroots organization called the Oakland County Times, and the woman who runs it, her name is Crystal Proxmire, and she interviews all local candidates, no matter the size of the race. She's interviewing those candidates. It's a great way to bring those candidates into your living room and hear from their mouth the words about where they're coming from, and that's the best way to choose your candidate. You can share ideas, share word of mouth, and look for important endorsements that are important to you, but it also helps to hear from them themselves. And those two methods, the League of Women Voters Guide and the Oakland County Times website, are good ways to bring those candidates into your living room and get to know them and where their stance is and where they're coming from.
Clerk Binder, any more important information that we should know, our audience should know before we let you go today?
Yes, I do. I have two things I want to remind voters. This being a primary, you can only vote one side of the ballot, meaning you have to vote all on the Democratic side or all on the Republican side in the partisan section. The nonpartisan section will be your proposals and your judicial races, and those are different. If you vote cross ballot in the partisan section, it does void your partisan section. So please be careful. Stay in one column. It's either all Democrat, all Republican, or we'll say it in reverse also, all Republican, all Democrat. But you do have to stay on one side of the ballot. Again, if you do void your ballot, it won't negate your nonpartisan section. It will only negate the partisan section. And if you make a mistake and you need to change that, we can spoil the ballot you were issued and issue you a new one right here at Town Hall. The second thing I just want to make sure I remind voters, please think of coming to Town Hall now and returning your ballot to Town Hall, just because we are seeing a significant delay in the mail. So those, I would say, Tyler, are the two important messages to get out with this primary. And I really appreciate your giving me the opportunity to share that message with voters.
We appreciate it. Thank you for being on with us today. Clerk Debbie Binder from West Bloomfield Township with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.